Hi, welcome back. We are continuing on with the development of myconnectless.com version 2.0. What you see on the screen right now is the architecture diagram we put together in the previous video, where we talked about the different parts that are going to be making up the new blog. So one is GitHub with the different GitHub actions, Vercel, where we're going to deploy and host the static web application. And also down here, we have the browser accessing the latest version of the blog. What is missing on that picture, what we haven't talked about, is how are we going to do that from a Git branching perspective, right? Because at the moment, if let's just go over here to GitHub. So if we go over to the source code of my blog at the moment, you can see that the master branch contains all the services that make up the current version of the blog. So we've got CDN, we've got the Ghost setup. We have a few webhooks that cross post to dev.to and other places, and load balancer website, all that. So I don't want to destroy that at the moment. I want to keep that. So what we're going to do instead is we are going to tag that current state so we can always go back, but also we're going to keep the master branch the way it is. And instead we will create a version 2 branch where we can create the next version of the blog. So with that in mind, I want to really quickly visualize that. So let's get rid of this and take a let's have a look how this is going to look like. So we have the master branch. So this is the current version. There is some sort of commit here. So let's make this gray. So that was a commit on the current version, and then what we did is let's just use the same one. Actually, we created a tag. Let's make this green and let's make this solid. So here, what we created was basically a tag v1.0. Okay, so that's a point in time right now where we freeze what we have. The next thing now we want to do is create a separate branch that we're going to use for development of version 2. So let's, as you've probably seen, we can draw this like that and then make a parallel branch here. It's probably long enough for now. And this branch we are going to call, let's say v2.0. Okay. Now, what we could do, we could just create commits on that branch. Just keep going with new commits. And then eventually when we're done, we could merge everything back into the master branch and then deploy that to the website. Now, because I want to do two things. One, I want to separate individual features that we're going to build for the website in individual pull requests. And the other thing is what I want to do is I want to connect or link from the videos to these pull requests. So when you watch the videos and you want to follow along, you can just go to the description, click the link to the pull request, and see exactly what changes that I made in the video if you want to copy paste that into your own project or so. So because of that, we are not going to commit straight onto that v2 branch. We're going to basically keep the v2 branch as a long living branch, and instead of committing right here, we branch off from, actually let's make this exactly the same. We branch off from v2 and then down here on this branch, which we are going to call v2.0, just some naming convention to know that it belongs to the v2. Look at feature 1, for example. All right. Now, what we're going to do here is, this is where we're going to commit for feature 1. And there's maybe 2 commits. And then when we're done with that branch, we merge that back into the v2 branch. Now, as we do that, let's just try this here. Perfect. So you can see we have 2 commits on that feature branch. Now, what I want to do is I want to treat the v2 branch in the same way as I will treat eventually the master branch. What I'm saying here is that anything that we merge into the v2 branch, I want this to get deployed to a URL that we can use on the web to test the next version of the blog. So the URL that we're going to use is https next.myclicklists.com. Okay, so this is what's going to be on version 2, and up here on version 1 we will have the existing www.myclicklists.com. Okay, so with that in mind, this is what I want this to look like. Now, let's hop over to the code and set this up so that in the next video, we can then start building the first feature and then move on and continue on and develop more and more features. So the way this is going to work, very straightforward. I'm going to go here, copy that URL, and I use gitpod.io. So all I do is gitpod.io/hash, and then paste my URL for my repository. Hit enter. And as you can see, this is going to take just a minute because it's the first time I'm doing this in this browser instance. Basically, gitpod.io is a online version of Thea, which is a open source web editor or a code editor, as you can see here. And I can just basically run that URL, and it opens up an environment with a terminal down here and everything I need to get up and running. So there we have it. If we do a git status, we'll see that we are on the master branch. If we do git tag L, you can see I already created the v1.0.0 tag just a couple hours earlier. Going back here, that's that tag that I created here. So the next thing now we want to do is we want to create that new branch, v2.0. So hopping over back to the code, we are saying git switch -c, or if you're using an older version of git, it would be git checkout -b, and then the branch name. So git switch -c for create v2.0. Say enter. So we have a new branch, we switch to it, we can validate that. We are on branch v2.0. Nothing to commit, working tree clean. So we haven't really made any changes, which is perfectly fine. What we want to do is git push that branch up to GitHub so that it is available going forward. Fabulous. That created us a v2.0 branch on GitHub. We can validate that, obviously, if we go to GitHub. There we go. We should now have a v2.0 branch down here. Perfect. So with that in mind, we have that v2.0 branch. Now, anything we're going to do going forward is going to be off of that v2.0 branch. We're going to create a new branch of that v2.0 dash name of the feature, and then do our commits, test everything, set up continuous integration, continuous deployment, and then merge that back into the v2 branch, from where we will automatically deploy it to the next.mikenicliff.com. Awesome. So very, very short, very brief, but this is what our Git branching strategy is going to look like while we're developing version 2. Eventually, when this is all finished and version 2 is merged back into the master branch here, then we will create new features off of the master branch, just like this is the case for the GitHub Flow Branching Strategy. Excellent. Cool. Thanks very much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. We are gonna go through all these features in the next little while. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. See ya.